Yeah. Hello, all of you. We have a little technical problem, so it will take a few 2 minutes, 3 minutes before we can start streaming. So please hold your breath. They're working on it. Till soon.
Good evening to you all. Thanks for waiting a bit. A very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of het Nieuwe Instituut to this launch of the second cahier of the Values for Survival about the Venice Exploratorium. And it is really nice to see you all, although in very tiny little Zoom frames. And I do hope that you're all in good health, although I know that some of you suffer from this enduring pandemic situation. My name is Francine van Westreen, and in daily life, I'm the head of the agency department at het Nieuwe Instituut. And for the time being, I'm also the curator of the Dutch Pavilion of the Venice Architectural Biennial. And het Nieuwe Instituut, for those of you who don't know us, it's an institute for architecture, design, and digital culture. And we do a lot of things. We are the keepers of a large architecture and urbanism archive. We develop and present exhibitions, as you can see in the video. We organize public events just like this one. We practice and commission different kinds of research as well. And we collaborate in international crossovers. And we try in almost all of them to combine heritage and the past with an innovative visions on the present and the future. And to do this, we collaborate with a wide variety of designers, researchers, curators, writers, and artists, just as you are all. And the Nieuwe Instituut is also the commissioner of the Dutch Pavilion during the Architectural Biennial. And as every year, the presentation in the pavilion is accompanied by a program of activities. And this year we decided to invite an external person and organization to develop this program with. And our choice for Caroline Nevian as the Chief Science Officer of the Municipality of Amsterdam was made deliberately to translate and connect the ideas that are presented in the pavilion to the daily practice of policymakers, researchers, and designers in Dutch cities, and more specific in the city of Amsterdam. And in order to do that, Caroline developed a very rich and daring program with the title Values for Survival. And as you all know, the Venice Biennial is postponed till next year. And our presentation, Who is We?, for which we collaborate with Afaina de Jong and Deborah Solomon, will be on show then. So you have to wait a bit for that. But I'm very glad and thankful to Caroline Nevian that we have this program today and that there was an exploratorium, which gives us something to enjoy, to chew on, to get inspired by, even without the biennial. And by saying thank you to Caroline Nevian, I also wish to thank Jana Mosto of We Are Here Venice. You are the co-curator of the Exploratorium, who opened up Venice for us in a way, and graphic designer Huda Abifares, who in a very elegant way combined all the contributions into one cahier. And last but not least, I also wish to thank all of you who contributed so very generously to this Exploratorium. And I now leave the floor to Caroline Nevian, who will guide you through this evening. But we will start off with a film of one of the tracks of the Exploratorium. It's called Scripts of the Lagoon. And enjoy your evening.
Our design process was organic. With every weekly meeting, the concept became more defined. Huda and Gabber's initial idea was to create an asemic or nonverbal responsive script. When Michel joined the team, sound became a fundamental component of this script. Following discussions on relevant themes, Fantina and Marta joined the team and shared their recordings of the sounds of the Venice Lagoon. Michel then started experimenting with the recordings to create alien and imaginary sounds. Then Gaber used Michel's sound data to create algorithms that control and define a virtual amphibious world. In parallel, Huda conducted a research on fictional and conceptual scripts. All the while, there was a regular dialogue between the team members and a back and forth exchange of ideas and materials. In this presentation, we share with you our process and resulting prototypes.
Hello. Do you hear me? I don't see anything anymore.
We hear you.
We hear you.
Okay. Good evening, all of you. Welcome to this presentation of the Venice Exploratorium. The last half year, we have been working with over 15 teams between Venice and Amsterdam, between Lisbon and several cities in Europe to enter this exploratorium. I'm very confused because I lost my image completely, so I don't see that I'm in this thing at the moment. I need to do something. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry about this. I'm very confused. Let me see what I can do. Can I ask you, Jane, to open that while I fix my computer? Jane Damosto, can you open? Oh, there you are. Yes. Oh, I see you again. Okay. Welcome. Yeah, so my name is Caroline Nevian. I'm the Chief Science Officer of the Municipality of Amsterdam, and I'm very honored to have been working with all these people that you see on screen. Thanks to the invitation of the new institute, we had the chance this summer to work online with all of you. Originally, we had made a plan to go to Venice, of course. But when you cannot go to Venice, you can still work with Venice, provided you have a good partner. So we were very happy to meet Jane Damosto and Eleonora Savrini and many others of you who are here on the screen today, because with you we found a solid partner to work with Venice, for Venice, through Venice. And between the team in Amsterdam and the team in Venice, we created all these tracks where we introduced people from Amsterdam, scientists, artists, designers, to people in Venice, artists, scientists, designers, and we created tracks, combining the intrinsic motivation of your work with the intrinsic motivation of someone else. It's also very timely that in this time and era where climate change is going so fast and where our institutional context is sometimes so rigorous and also not allowing for free exploration, this Venice Exploratorium and this research program with the Biennale allows to run with the ideas we have. So we challenged each of you to try and to challenge your imagination, challenge your practice, challenge the rigor of your sciences. And as you saw in the first film before of the Scripts of the Lagoon, which is one of the tracks, we really ran with the ideas we had. It's quite surprising that all of us have been working with people we didn't know before and we could not meet. Actually, most of you I have still not met. But nevertheless, we created a lot of beautiful work. I want to shortly introduce the tracks that we did. Can you please give me the screen? Thank you. Yeah. So the first track was Artists of Globalization, in which archaeologists from Amsterdam worked with archaeologists from Venice and Italy, focusing on the tools that were used in the shipyards in Amsterdam and the shipyards still today in Venice. Also a technical expert in craft and the knowledge that is needed of the tools. So in the tool and the crafts, a free knowledge sharing has been happening for centuries. And this is something we should never lose. Vanishing Homelands focuses on the climate change effects in Bangladesh, where people are flooded, who then flee and as refugees to Venice and are flooded again. And in the testimonies of being flooded, new relations and new understanding can emerge. The Tides of Tourism was studying how tourists between residents and entrepreneurs as just another human being, another weird species, can actually develop a new approach and can develop rhythms where you can adapt to tourism and not getting completely suffocated by the mass tourism we are. Talking Sands was exploring how the vongole, of the pasta de vongole, how that is actually part of a whole system and that is also has a social dynamic, an economic dynamic, a geological, a biological. What do we need? is a track that most of the people of the Exploratorium haven't seen. This is where 7 people in 7 boroughs of Amsterdam ask the residents, what do you need? To understand what is the near future that we have to provide in our cities for the people we are. Protest or not to protest was asking the hard questions about, do you protest or not? And if you do, what does it mean? And they come to really important results that protest is really about care, about disruption, about engagement. Space of Other is a travel through time in Lisbon, where a destructed neighborhood is visited by Sofia, the partner of Gio. Gio had corona. Sofia was traveling with a phone, trying to find the memories of the, at the time, refuge ghetto-like part of Lisbon, which was destroyed. So how can you find memories of a destroyed place when you're not there, but your friend is there? Next, please. Can you go to the, yeah. Then there's the unfolding arch of forging fantasy, which is interesting because it's the old way how we used to work together when we do not know each other and cannot meet, which is through books and through images and through phone calls and letters. Forbidden Garden was focusing on the Orto Botanico in Venice, wanting to develop a new plan, but then they found they couldn't enter. It sold to a real estate developer with huge plans, which is not taking into account its history. And this track found out that actually the history of this Forbidden Garden is already seen and told by the wall around it. So this track asks a question about, where do you build a wall? What is the wall? Well, history carries the wall. Werk Observation is a community in Amsterdam in the food forest of Zuidoost, working together with people in Venice to see how the Green Triangle can be developed into a community where local organizers will want to learn with each other together how they can work with the green spaces and can become a group. Zoop is a track that happened in 4 spaces, in Berlin, in France, in Amsterdam, and in the salt marshes of the Venice Lagoon. And they were looking at how can you as humans and non-human actors actually be considered as one ecosystem that you can see, observe, demarcate, and in the end also could get legal status as a complete system of human and non-human actors together. Sant Erasmo takes us up to 2038, which is only 20 years from now, but quite a distance if you have to see how it will be then. They go to Sant Erasmo, which is an island in the Venice Lagoon that usually people do not visit. Skipsele Lagoon, you just saw. And City Science is a report where 35 cities over the last half year have worked together to identify how the new research in the cities, transdisciplinary between arts and the sciences, can help to develop a new future for Europe. Can I ask now Huda to tell us about the design, how we worked with all these artists together in one book? Because what I didn't show yet, you get 1 more minute, Huda, is that the book,
Okay.
There's 1 copy, it's only here. And it looks like this. And it's now in the print shop. So it will be with all of you very soon. And you can download it and you can order it. And it will be sent to you. Huda.
Thank you, Caroline, for the introduction of the tracks. That makes my explanation even more relevant. First, I want to start by thanking everybody who has contributed to the book, because unlike any other book, this is really a co-authored book in many ways. So the design was also a co-design. And I want to start by saying thank you to everybody who contributed their parts and designed their own project pages, because without your beautiful work, the book would have failed dramatically. So I'm very grateful to all of you. I also am grateful that you kind of, abided by all the, technical specifications and restrictions that I have given, although they weren't so many. So I'm very happy to say that this was also for me a very nice challenge as a designer, to create a book with, again, people that I have never designed with and who come from different design backgrounds and disciplines, and so have different experiences in creating their visuals. And so this was a very enriching and kind of like taking a big risk, because I had I couldn't, nobody could tell ahead of time what the content of this book was going to look like. We had rough ideas. And so for me, the fun part was to come up with a kind of system that framed this work and that allowed space and like individual space for each group to express themselves. And it worked. The framing of this project is very minimal, the framing of the design. And it looks like a sketchbook with a kind of top navigation, and the top navigation or the top bar on top is what ties it together. But at the same time, there were sort of things that I had to think about that I think are very important, is how to enhance the experience of going through these pages and making sense of them. So the sequencing of the projects was very important, and that's also done in collaboration with the other two editors. That their contribution is immense in this respect. Also trying to create a rhythm within the book so that when you move, not only conceptually, but also visually, that you have variety, that you have moments where it's quiet and you can take your breath to enter a new space. And I always liked because this is in a series, so the first cahier was also had something similar where we had kind of different spaces, and these spaces had a color, so it was very difficult ahead of time to decide what colors it was, but it was easy also to think of looking at elements in nature and looking at gemstones, and then realizing how many type of colors can be used. And so that was a kind of also a good palette as a starting point, because then you can adapt it to the works themselves and conceptually and visually again. And I like the kind of poetic of, every project was a gemstone. I like that idea. I think every project had a sort of, rough, it was a start, it was a research, a start of something, a start of a collaboration, like a rough stone that needs polishing and that could grow and become something beautiful, maybe develop, maybe become part of a set of other stones. So I like that idea, and it kind of, provided very colorful palette, but at the same time, it was conceptually interesting. I had also, I don't want to talk too much about this because it's kind of explained in the book, but there was something very beautiful about making this book. It was very challenging and scary in the beginning to say, like, especially as a book designer, you want to control what happens in your book. And this was a moment of like saying, okay, I don't want to control this book. I want to let it happen. And I think I trust that everybody will do beautiful work, and that together we make a beautiful book. And I'm very touched that it's actually turned out this way. So again, thank you all for your beautiful collaboration and beautiful work and very inspiring projects.
Thank you, Huda. Can I ask Jane Damosto, We Are Here Venice? Can you tell us what does it mean for Venice? What does it mean for We Are Here Venice that you were part of this project? And We Are Here Venice, I must say, the collaboration and curation together was quite amazing. I feel very honored I was part of this. So Jane, can you tell us about what was the effect to Venice of this exploratorium?
Well, good evening, everybody. Good afternoon to some of you. Good morning, I don't know. But when Caroline said that this was the exploratorium was a chance for people to feel free to connect in these new ways, I also want to say that for us, we felt the urgency of the crisis, not just the pandemic, but all the other issues that have come more sharply to the surface. And we worked extremely hard. This was an opportunity not to be missed. And I'm extremely grateful for the chance that we had. And I'm sure all my colleagues are too. Eleonora, So Young, Carolyn Smith, Camilla, directly from We Are Here Venice, along with Matteo, Mattia, Fantina, Hasna, Gilberto, and all the people who came to the Green Triangle initiatives organized by So Young and Deborah, which was a physical part of this virtual project. We learned an enormous amount using these instruments that to us were a very new way of working, because the social fabric of Venice means that even when you need to meet the mayor, you might end up talking to him because you find him in the street. We're very used to having direct physical contact. So to find ourselves in this virtual world was very, very different. Also, the formality of needing to book a time, having these meetings, was a new way of working. And in organizing ourselves to share the information and to open up questions and experience, I just feel like now's the time to remark about the way that preparing what you have to say on Zoom or whatever, you end up doing very deep search inside yourself about, and you end up saying things that you didn't know or didn't know you felt. And there was, in a way, there was a certain kind of intimacy in the connections that we made. On the other hand, I do feel that a lot of things got left out, because obviously you just can shoot data, information across very easily. But there's also the things that come out randomly when you do meet somebody for real. And I use the analogy of when you're looking up a word, you can get to it very quickly if you search for the meaning on Google. But if you actually take a dictionary, and you find a whole lot of other words that are interesting on the way to getting to the letter of the word that you're looking up. So I want to emphasize that for us, this was just the beginning. And we do really look forward to making more of the incredible opportunities and wealth of connections that we've been able to make through the Exploratorium project. Can I go on for 2 more minutes?
Yes, you can.
1 more minute? I just think that in terms of the Venice component was very sharply directed at making something substantial come out of these explorations, something that would have a legacy and something that we're continuing to work on. And in preparing my short text for the cahier, which I hope everybody will read thoroughly, the whole thing, but with the help of thinking with Eleonora, we categorized, even though it was quite opportunistic, what came out with the connections that we got through these initial Zooms with Caroline, Marco, and Pinar. The projects fitted very neatly into 3 specific areas. One is the opportunity through the Exploratorium of going into new spaces in the city. The Green Triangle Regeneration Project is an obvious example, just as finding out more about the Giardino Botanico in the Studio Wild and Matteo and his colleagues' collaboration, and that's generated a lot of curiosity in us, and we hope to work with them in making sure that that document becomes a concrete input to any kind of future planning for the space, even if they plan to do things that we wish they wouldn't do there, like yet another hotel. The second area of the Exploratorium projects fit into what I would say sharpening our tools. So they helped us conceptually, intellectually get better at directing our arguments for things that we're already working on. Obviously tourism, and obviously the framing of the importance to look after the biodiversity, to integrate that more in policy making. And the ZooOp project is an idea of how that really is also going to become more robust. And the third area was literally building solidarity, making new kinds of connections and thinking of different ways to do community engagement.
Thank you very much, Jane. Thank you. Maybe just before we go to the next visual, What happens, as you know, everybody who's involved in Exploratorium, but also all the other people who are watching us and listening to this interesting experience we had, while the teams were meeting in regular meetings, usually every week, many teams did. Also teams where people didn't know each other, where we're starting to send each other stories, pictures. There was a creative reciprocity. And through this creative reciprocity, trust emerged between the teams, like what you called intimacy, Jane. And this also happened actually in all the teams. So we had evaluation talks with all the tracks. How do you work together? How is it? And what we found, and maybe can I have the slide, Florian? We made, in the end, a visual analysis that you will see when you get the cahier or when you download it now from the Open Research site. Can you just scroll through it? So based on all these stories and all your work, we started to see how all this is related. And in the end, I wrote a little text, which is based on all your lines. And Huda will now read this text. Thank you. This text, no, please, you can take it off. Just look at Huda now. Yeah. And after Huda's text, we will get the next visual, but I'll introduce that properly. So Huda, this is the conclusion of the Exploratorium, based on all your work.
Solidarity. When engaging with people one does not know and cannot meet, the collaboration is sustained by respect for each other's experience and expertise on the matter at hand. People want to live in a culture in which they can be together through generations. A community cannot be built in a short period. One needs to adapt to the time it takes. Also, configurations between human and more than human life are communities and need to be heard by policy and acquire rights by law. By understanding the context, new avenues for possible intervention are discovered, in which the focus on a specific perspective helps us to take position. History creates the context for possible futures. Other than what the media often suggests, protest is an act of engagement and care. When in need of action, in a place where one cannot be physically present, trust a friend to act on your behalf. Individuals engage with imagination. Once one is able to recognize and acknowledge the pain of others, new avenues for communication and interaction emerge. Giving voice in unexpected, imaginative, artistic ways to unheard pain and unseen potential offers a deep sense of compassion that brings collective and personal engagement into the flow. Thank you.
Thank you, Huda. So now we will go to a very special piece of film. It will take 10 minutes, maybe even 11, made by Roberta and Marta from the track of Sant'Erasmo, based on the work that you also did with Matteo and Christoph. You want to introduce it, Roberta, yourself, or Marta, before we start to look?
No, maybe just to say it's we did it again all together. Marta and we were just like the helpers behind the screen, but it was also the piece that we all did together and talked about it.
Okay, so this is Erasmus 2038. There we go. Enjoy.
I left from Piazzale Roma, then we go into Murano, and from Murano we have a direct water bus to Sant'Erasmo. Oh, look, do you see it? Do you see the little fishes?
Are these robotic ones or real ones? How can you
Yeah.
say that
Those are the.
You as a local, can you see
differentiate?
Yeah, because like for me they all look the same.
No, it's robotic one. Yeah, the sensor. You see it? It's full.
Yeah.
And you know, this foam is because is what they produce as a result of their or the analysis on the lagoon. So if the lagoon, the acid level is going to rise, they use this foam in order to stabilize the pH of the water.
Ah, that's nice.
Wow, but there's like really, it's like full of fishes. They all cannot be robotic.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, like the robotic ones, they must just look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like crazy.
And
And like the super technology in such a like tiny device, no?
yes.
I mean, if you compare it with the phones now, it's super big, but
Yeah, the phone is like, I will buy a new suitcase for my iPhone. 4 wheels.
Do you see the birds flying together?
Ah, yeah.
There's actually those are not birds, are robotic birds. They are checking the condition of the plants in Sant'Erasmo. So while it was very difficult to check all the plants and the fields, they send this kind of little birds robots as drones in order to check the condition of the plants. But at the same time, they're also having fun while they're flying over the island.
So they can get samples of the most remote corners of the plants.
Yeah. And there was a special meeting years ago with the artichokes themselves, with one of the representative member of the artichokes, who states with the humans to have this system, to have, how do you say, to improve the system of canals in order to feed them with the water.
okay. In order to democratize the water supplies for all the body of artichokes.
But also,
Yes.
but also the artichoke don't allow humans to eat all of them, right?
And that's it. That's one part of the story. I mean, if you want to have an artichoke, you must ask him or her to be eaten.
Okay.
The plant has to have a special deliver a special permission.
Okay, I see.
This means, sorry?
Not already enough life, no? Like you can the maximum.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you because there was a giant mosquito crossing the air zone. So as you can see, we are welcomed by this kind of a very peculiar ecosystem, which is the Sant'Erasmo ecosystem.
Thank you for hosting us. Fantastic ecosystem.
Yeah, it's like a swamp ecosystem, and you have also some barriers that were built in order to not allow this peculiar ecosystem to interact with the lagoon ecosystem. Then you have
And why?
flowers.
Why didn't want to allow this interaction, this like natural interaction?
Because they want to preserve this fantastic fauna and flora. Because otherwise, it was too different from what is the lagoon, and the species contained in the lagoon could be, could become like a parasite, or could become hostile to the original. You see,
so, like, to preserve the diversity and kind of like not allow competition in a way.
That's it. That's why they also developed this very special instrument, very sophisticated technological way of transportation, as the one you're seeing now.
Yeah. Wow, it looks super ergonomic.
Yeah, this is extremely economic.
One human size.
Yeah.
Yeah, because its impact should be very, very low on the environment.
Yeah,
This is also
That's
after
why.
we abolished the nuclear family, no?
Yes,
And
that's
this
why.
one, yeah, that's good.
The nuclear family.
You know, patriarchy. We've been able, after years of sufferings, we have been able to go and fuck the patriarchy. You know, so now the family asset is completely different.
How?
And
They
it's
look
still
very
working.
beautiful. They look like in this very old film Star Wars.
Yes, you're right.
It's like a creature, no? Like an autonomous standing.
This is the face. Could be the face. This could be the mouth. But you can tell me if I'm exaggerating with the bullshit, huh? But really, I like this object. It's very, I don't know, it has a...
It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
And with this art, plastic art, looks even holy somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can insert some, I think
they put it like during the pandemic so you can have the confessions with the priest at church.
And they recorded them all.
You're a genius, Roberta. You're right. You see the connection between telecom, this should be telechurch.
But back to those days, telephones.
Take this shot.
Telephones were sacrosanct, no? Back in the day, they were more important than the church. Telephones. They were the most sacred objects we had.
Yeah, you know, communication was the religion.
Yeah.
How?
It is used as a transportation object, allowing people to move in the island in a way. It has also a deeper meaning. It's the transportational Uroboro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. Because it's really, you can see now, you're witnessing the effort of years and years of studies, engineering, and,
So this is where adults play. The other one was for kids.
Yeah.
And this is for the adults.
Yeah.
Wow, looks amazing.
It's an endless circle.
Yeah.
And it has 5 seats, so it's made for us. When we go, we need that.
Yeah, but I want you to focus also on a very, very important, peculiar detail, because the machine is meant to be moved not by everyone in the cycle. Only few of the cycle, 4 inside the cycle, are able to move it. The other, like this one on the horse, are not doing anything at all. They're just enjoying it. So it's also very important to let the children and the adults understand the very importance of collaboration and collaborative participation.
It's really beautiful.
Yes, I love it.
And then you have also this black structure here. Is a cage, but it's not a cage. I mean, it is a cage where people are going there just to appreciate their freedom. Old tower. It was a rocket before. Then he decided to shift it into a stone structure, architecture, living place, but also cohabitation. As you see on the roof, there's plants growing. Beautiful concept. It was developed for the Biennale of 2020 when the pandemic was there.
By Elon Musk.
By Elon Musk.
After he took classes into sustainable archetypes.
Thanks God. No, it was after all those bullshit with Mars, it was time for him to come back to the Earth.
Yeah.
just waiting for the moment where the tower will collide exactly to the middle of the sun.
Very soon, like
Very soon. Approaching, yeah?
now.
Now, bam,
Ta-dam, ta-dam.
bam.
Thank you so much, Sant Erasmo. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I see we are here. Venice? Jane, are you still there? Okay. This was very, very beautiful. It's also quite shocking that actually today the Elon Musk rocket actually exploded when it came back. So we didn't know that tower. I mean, had he known his tower, it would have been different. So yeah, I would like to, can we stop the sharing? Can we see each other, all of us, Florian? That would be nice. That we can have some conversation now with all of us, if possible, about what we did and what happened. So, and this question that came out of the analysis of all your work is, can intuition and experience be shared with people you don't know and cannot meet? Maybe I can ask Patricia to say something about this.
Yes, sure. Yeah. Hi, I'm here with Vicky, my daughter.
Hello, Vicky.
She wanted to see you all, and so yeah, I was thinking about what you this kind of question, and it's not an easy, not a straightforward answer maybe, because experience you would think is easy. You know, we have many ways to share this with people, whether we know them or we don't know them. Language is probably the easiest way for us humans. The easiest way for us humans to do that, but intuition is a bit trickier, right? Because it also relates on unspoken elements, feelings, sensations, and maybe even gut feelings, right? And that can be harder to share, I suppose, with people who don't know each other as well. So I would say that experience and intuition put together were to a certain extent at the heart as well of our project, the ZOAP project, which consisted in precisely observing, sensing, understanding other worlds, other species, other beings, with all which all relate on bodily languages, on signs, whether visual, olfactory, tactile, audio, if not instinctive, if not intuitive, right? So I don't know if we really managed to share intuition and experience together, but we certainly learned to be more aware of other ways to get to know each other and our environment. And I would say I hope that in the future we can relate more and more on these kind of new kinds or other kinds of combinations that bring us closer to our senses, to the elements, and to other beings in general. That's what I would like to say.
Beautiful, thank you. Who else would like to comment? I don't know if Gabar is here. Is Gabar here? Maybe he's not here. Didn't see him. Who would like to comment on this? Oh, I love this silence with this big group of people. This is what we've done so many times. Oh, maybe I can ask Deborah and So Young. You guys connected two communities. How did you do it?
Hello.
Hello.
Well, we worked very much in parallel. So Young and I met also with Jane quite often, and we were working. I think the two groups were in different places in their development. the group in Amsterdam knew each other really well and had a clear idea of what they were doing. But we were also doing the radical observation exercises. And the group, the Green Triangle group, I don't want to speak too much for So Young, but she did a wonderful job in together with Jane in conjuring a group that hadn't yet been there for a project that is now going to be developed. And they found...
How did you share experience? How did you share their experience in the Green Triangle, for example?
Well, they, within the Green Triangle itself, well, we together developed exercises for reporting desires, because the Green Triangle group is still learning what, well, when we left off, maybe they're really far by now, but when we were working intensely in the summer, the group was trying to articulate what they wanted to do with the Green Triangle. And so within the group, the people that were attending the Green Triangle meetings, they practiced a method of sharing their desires and reporting to each other and reporting for others, learning to speak for someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask, maybe staying to speak, Afina, I see you're also here. You guys were traveling to a neighborhood that wasn't there anymore while you couldn't be there. I mean, it's quite a bit complex time travel. How did you do it? How did you understand what was happening?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I have to go back to that place, because it's funny, we had a conversation in 2019 in a space about this other space outside of Lisbon, kind of on the outskirts of Cascais. And then like a year later, the idea was that we would actually go to that place and document it in the way that it was now, because this neighborhood, the End of the World neighborhood, was basically the place where Gio, this actor and friend of mine, where he grew up. It was like a self-built neighborhood. So the neighborhood didn't exist anymore, but there were still remnants. Basically, it was overtaken by nature. But then Gio got COVID and he couldn't go because he was going to go with Sophia, who's a photographer, to document it. And so basically, and I was in Amsterdam. So then Sophia basically had to go there while she was in Skype or Zoom with Gio, and he was kind of explaining to her how she had to walk and get there. You know, like the neighborhood is not there anymore. So that was, yeah, it's really crazy, because at the same time we're trying to discover this place and we can't be there, and Sophia has never been there, and the neighborhood is not there anymore. I think she even almost got like robbed or assaulted, so it was kind of like pretty intense. But she took some beautiful pictures, so I mean,
is it like this through the performance, through the imagination? I mean, how did you understand each other?
Yeah, that's interesting, because I also never saw that neighborhood, but Gio performed a piece in the Space of Father that we did in Lisbon. And basically the first time when he walked in, he was just like, I want to perform in this space, you know, like this connects to my memory, it connects to, because we used all these different graphics, and to him, they told a story about where he came from, because it was like this self-built neighborhood. So he really connected to all these lines, and his whole performance was like he was kind of connecting to the graphics in that space, you know, kind of directing us through the graphics, through his neighborhood, his childhood neighborhood. And he was kind of, this piece was about how there were barriers inside the neighborhood. there was always this black dog where he was kind of, and he was afraid of that dog. So how he would conquer.
Can I pick up on the graphics? Yeah. So the protest group. I hear. Hello, Erika, please. Okay, Erika. I want to ask the protest group, Eleonora, Ivan, Erika, you guys used the graphics. You were looking into protest, not to protest. How did you understand each other? Because you were discussing something quite very personal. How do you protest or not protest? And your language was also very graphical. How did you work? How did you understand each other? And I think Wouter may also be here, Wouter Pecorni. How did you work? How did you understand each other? Because you don't know each other till today.
Erika? I mean, I cannot see everybody, so I don't know if Erika wants to answer. I cannot see Erika.
Just say what you think, Eleonora. How did you understand
No,
Erika?
actually, I think that you have a very different dimension of time while you are spending time online. So it's very different than spending time with real people. So very briefly, I think that it's very important in this case to be more methodic and structured. So you can really plan your time. That's why it was very helpful for us to have an issue, a main topic to discuss about every time in advance. And also as a method, we started to share our biographies. And this was a very important basis for all of us to get to know each other, to start to exchange our practices and experiences. And I think that was also very, it's in general very important, especially in this case, to have a physical counterpart as an experience. So everybody of us is and was and is anyway very related to the physical context in terms of activism, etc. So I think it was also very precious to share our experience, but also related to our mutual physical space and context.
You took the risk to share personal stories with each other while you didn't know each other really well. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was not easy from the beginning because actually, as Jane said, I mean, you really get into an intimacy you're not used to have at that point with the people you don't know. But I think that it's also a big challenge and can be also a very good way to alternatively know people. But of course, it cannot substitute face-to-face experiences, I have to say. So.
Anyone else wants to comment? Yeah, Erika. Yeah. You're muted. Unmute. We can't hear you.
Unmute. Yes, I did it. Can you hear me? Yes, you can. Thank you, Eleonora. It's very beautiful what you were saying there. It was for all of us, as for like everybody, I guess, in the exploratorium, a very special experience. Also, we started doing this kind of work at the beginning of the pandemic. So many of us were not really very accustomed yet to this whole kind of online conversation. By now, we are all pros. I mean, we know how to do it and we know the perks. So it's we also know a bit more about the tricks, the things that happen to us in this kind of specific connections that we can make or cannot make in this kind of online thing. But I experienced, as an direct answer to your question about intuition and sharing experience, I think actually it worked extremely well. It was such a beautiful experience and I cherish it so much. But then in the larger sense, like the next level, level 2, so this is like the basic level, how we interact with each other. But what I really missed, and this was also the beautiful promise of working together in Venice, that I would have been so much interested to have this kind of more intense interaction with all the other teams. And this is something that in this context really miss. We only knew from each other what we were doing on the presentations, which were actually 2. And then you were like, oh, wow, this is so fantastic what they're doing. I really want to know more. But then what's already it. So this is from the way we have been working. I'm still kind of, how you say, journeying for like a next step where we really can be together and we can feel each other. And now we have been working in our own bubbles, but where those bubbles can start to connect and interact. That would be,
yeah, thank you.
This would be my wish for 21. So let's see.
Thank
you. Thank you, Caroline.
Who else likes to contribute to this question?
Maybe I can pick up on the comments before. I think for us, if we are talking about if the main question is that if intuition can be shared, I think in the film that we have shown before, you have felt that it was hours and hours of very intimate and private, sometimes nonsense conversations of just hanging around together and compromising to spending time together. I would also like to say that this playful storytelling came up as something completely spontaneous. We were in Zoom and Matteo started to talk and to describe the things as if we were already in 2038, and we suddenly were there and we remained there for more than 20 hours of recordings that we have, and we have shown a little bit. And I think also it was his kind of task to be the host and to be the explorer. And he described this reality for us, and we all engaged and entered there. In some moments we met at the end of the day to have a drink. Some other moments we woke up at 5 and went together to San Erasmo before the sun was out there. And for us, the experience ended with a question. Matteo asked if we were already friends. And for the team that was in Berlin, we never met in person. We remained in Zoom to keep the rules fair for everybody. And we were friends, and it was a very special experience. And definitely the intuition can be shared.
Thank you. Can I ask you, Marco, you were very important in this whole exploratorium, being the producer and helping us all to communicate. So how do you think the intuition and the experience was shared? I can't hear you. Can't hear you, can't hear you, can't hear you. Something wrong? Okay, something wrong. Ask someone else. I also see Hugo here and Zola, who were doing the What Do You Need, which is the storytelling in Amsterdam with locally. You had an exploratorium, and you made amazing pages in the book in the end. How do you think the intuition and the experience is shared when you cannot meet?
I think Hugo's not here, maybe. No.
Okay, Zola, yeah, you go. Zola, you go.
Yeah, for us, it was also a new experience. We came later into the exploratorium, actually. So, and we did our research only in Amsterdam, not in an other country. But still here too, we couldn't meet, of course, because of the pandemic. And we had to find out new ways to ask residents in Amsterdam how or what do they need in the future of their city. So we did this. We started with a very nice idea. We had a very special idea to do this estafette. How do you call this in English again? The relay race. Yeah, so we started doing that, but it didn't work out at all. So we had to find out new ways, new methodologies to collect the stories we needed. And so we had we came up with something new, the 7 story catchers. In each city district, we found a very creative person who had his or her own network in Amsterdam, and they actually found out new ways to come to collect their stories. And in the end, we had a very nice, a very good. We came up with good reflection of each city district. So it was a very new way and new experience. We found out. Yeah.
So I think we are nearly rounding up the conversation. Unless someone has something really important to say, then now is your moment. Or maybe Marco is back online. Is Marco back online? No? Okay. Anyone else wants to add something to this thinking about how we worked? So I think when we had all the interviews with you, that I realized that in this new era where we cannot meet and have to work together, that without creativity and daring to take creative risk and to develop a reciprocity in creative exchanges, that really has made this collaboration flow actually in all the tracks. Also the scientists, some of the scientific tracks like the rhythm track, the scientists used to work online with people they don't know, but even there, you see that the fact that you were visualizing and exchanging really helped. So as a present, I don't know, is Steven Elbers, are you here? I don't see you, and I don't know whether you are here. Where is Steven? Are you here? I guess he's not here. Well, it is Steven Elbers. It's someone who you all don't know, you have not met, and the only thing he did is that he saw all your images. And Steven read the book and really dove deep into all your work and made this last little present. Before we go to what he made for all of us, I want to do a special thanks to Marco. Even though you cannot talk back, I think you did an amazing job producing the Exploratorium. So we thank you so much. And also, I think we thank Pinar and Zola, who also worked very hard, and the Open Research team. And last but not least, the team at het Nieuwe Instituut, Ellen Zoete and Sophie for the publicity, and Francine van Strainen, making it all possible. Thank you so much. And last but not least, you all. I think it was amazing what you did. So let's applaud the possibility of being human and more than human, and being able to collaborate. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Degustación. Rediscovering Solidarity. Rediscovering Solidarity.